Okay, I should see 4 more answers on the chat. A, B, C, or D. One more answer. I mean, 2 more answers. Let me check. So the question was, how do you check your answer, right? Why is 72 correct? How do you know? And I see some different answers, and the correct answer is, where is it? There it is C. Can somebody please explain why the correct answer is C?
I think the answer is C because when you multiply, the opposite of multiplying would be dividing.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, C would be the best answer in checking your work.
Exactly. And you guys should know that by 5th grade, that to check your answer for division or multiplication, you do the opposite. In this case, we are multiplying. So if we divide 72 divided by 12, we should get 6. Or if we divide 72 divided by 6, we should get 12.
I think another thing, Javen's right, but I think another thing he forgot to add was the reason it's not A, and that's because when you divide, you usually divide the bigger number by the smaller instead of the smaller number by the bigger number.
Yes, remember that when we divide, we have this chunk that we want to divide, right? We want to split it into different groups, or we want to know how many in each group when we divide. So our divisor would be the answer. Our divisor should be the answer. And one of the factors should be the dividend. Okay. So let's remember how to multiply fractions. And I have put it on the slide in case you need to go back to it when you do the work for the following problems. But I'm not going to go over all of it right now, just briefly. When we multiply fractions, we multiply the numerators, and then we multiply the denominators, and then we simplify the answers if we need to. When we multiply fractions by a whole number, we put the whole number over a denominator of 1, multiply the numerators, then multiply the denominators and convert to a mixed number and simplify if possible. And when we multiply mixed numbers by a whole number or a fraction, we convert the mixed number into an improper fraction, then put the whole number over the denominator of 1, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, convert to a mixed number, and or simplify if possible. Okay. Now, how do we divide by fraction? Simply keep the first fraction, change the division symbol to a multiplication symbol, flip the second fraction to its reciprocal, solve by multiplying the numerator and denominator, convert to a mixed number, and or simplify if possible. Then we have the directions on how to divide a fraction by a whole number. And we put the whole number over the denominator of 1, keep the first fraction the same, change the division symbol to multiplication, flip the second fraction, solve by multiplying the numerator and denominator, and we convert to a mixed number. Does this sound familiar to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And you can always go back here, but just make sure that you can do this in your EOGs, and I will be posting practices once we finish with all the lessons for the year. Then how to divide a mixed number by a whole number, convert mixed number into an improper fraction, put the whole number over a denominator of 1, keep the first fraction the same, change the division symbol to multiplication, flip the second fraction, solve by multiplying the numerator and denominator, convert to a mixed number, and or simplify. Any questions about this? Okay, so just like we reviewed in today's multiplication do now, multiplication and division are opposites of each other. We can use multiplication to check division, and we can use division to check multiplication. 12 times 6 equals 72. That means 72 divided by 12 is going to equal 6. And 72 divided by 6 should equal 12. Now, this is very important because we have not done this before. Area is the amount of space inside a shape measured in square units. Because it's measured in square units, the answer will have the units written as units and then that little 2 above it, units squared. For example, centimeters squared or feet squared. That's how you know they're giving you an area. Formula for area is length times width, L times W in units squared. So if a question asks, what is the area of this rectangle? You're going to multiply whatever the length is times the width, and you will get the area. The perimeter is the measurement of the lines outside of the shape. So if I get a piece of string and stick it to these borders and I measure the string, I will get how long that this outline is. That would be a perimeter. The area is the space inside. Is that clear? I'm just taking notes for your quiz. I didn't know it was going to rain today. Okay. So look at the problem below and take 3 minutes. Think about how we might find the missing side of the rectangle. Think about everything you already know about area. Use your notebook and try whatever methods you think will work. Then we will come back together to discuss. So knowing that the area inside this rectangle is 10 meters squared, remember we can just ignore this, but that's how we show that it's area. And we know that the width is 2 meters. We don't know the length, but we know the area is length times width. What would be your answer? So think of what you know. And then we're going to discuss how you got to your answer. I want to see everybody try this. Don't be afraid, you're not supposed to know yet.
Do we write it in the chat?
Yes, this is just an educated guess. All right, I need 5 more answers. right, waiting for 3 more answers. Remember that area is length times width. Here we know the width. We don't know the length, but we know the area is equals 10. All right, need 2 more answers, 1 more. Okay, let me check. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Whoops. Okay, so how did you figure this out? What do you think we should do to solve this problem?
I think what I would do is, if you look back on the problem we did before, which was like the 12 times.
Yeah, this one.
That one, yeah. And that 72 divided by 12 is 6. Then I took that back to the square thing, and I thought, well, that the 2 meters is kind of like a factor, and the 10 meters is kind of like the quotient, I think it's called it. The 10 meters is kind of like 10 meters squared. It's kind of like the quotient. So I thought, well, if you usually take the quotient divided by the factor, now we're going to take the 10 meters squared and divide it by the 2 meters. And I got 5 meters squared.
Okay. Did anyone have another way of thinking about this problem?
Okay, so what I did was I used prior knowledge.
Okay.
So I know that the other side that doesn't have a number on it, not the top or the bottom, but like the opposite side from the 2 meters, is also a 2. So that's 4. So that would only leave 6 left, and there's only 2 spots. So if you divide 6 into 2, that's 3.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right, we'll see. This is a mystery that we're going to solve right now. I can find a missing side of a rectangle by using what I know about area and the relationship between multiplication and division. So we know that area and finding a missing side in an area problem is going to require multiplication or division. Any questions? Okay. And I want to tell you why this is important. This is a very common question in your state test and will also help you to understand measurements, right? You can measure how much the inside of your room is if you would like to. So let me show you. We know, here we can get to the correct answer, that the area is 10 meters squared, right? The inside. Remember that area, we're worried about the space inside, not the perimeter, which is the measurement of this outline on its own. The area is how much space is inside, and that's why we express it as meters squared, right? It's more than just a line that we're measuring space. So the area is 10 meters squared, and we know the length times width equals area, and we have width right here. We don't know the length, so we can use division to help us find the missing side. We divide the quotient, which is the area, by the one side of the rectangle we have. So 10 divided by 2 equals 5. So the question mark or the length is equal to 5 meters. We can double check it's correct by putting 5 where we have the question mark as the placeholder. 5 times 2 equals 10 meters squared because we're looking for area. Now, is that clear for everybody how we found that?
Yeah, but I have a question. So since the inside is 10 meters squared, the outside is not squared because it's the perimeter, right? Because
Exactly.
it's a line.
Because this is
Oh,
just simple length. And
so
we are
it's
multiplying to find the area. Now, this is where I was going to get to. Javen's answer is pretty smart, but remember that area, we're measuring the space inside, not the space outside. So the perimeter would require us to add the different sides of the.
so the perimeter could never be a number squared.
Never be a number squared. It will just be a regular unit
it's
of
only
meters.
a line.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, in perimeter, we add the sides, all the sides together. In area, we multiply length times width. Is that clear for everyone?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so if we have an area of 21 centimeters and we have a side or a width of 3 centimeters, we need to figure out the length. So we don't know the length, we know the width, and we know the area. We know the area we can find by multiplying length times width. We know the area is 21. The length we don't know, but we know the width, right? So that means that 21 divided by 3, I know that equals 7. And therefore, 7 would be the missing length. Okay, take a look at that and ask questions if you need to. Let me just look at what's in the chat. Good, we're already getting correct answers. Check who's in here. All right, good.
Can I, are we gonna do anything like right this second? Can I go to the bathroom now?
We're about to do a problem, but you can quickly go to the bathroom. Okay, let's try this, and it'll take a little longer because it's using fractions. So we know area equals length times width. We have an area of 1/18 centimeter. This is easy. Don't get scared by the fraction. 1/18 area, and we have a length of 1/2. We don't know the width. So we're gonna do exactly the same thing. It doesn't change. We're gonna divide the area by the side that we know by the length. Okay, so we have 1/18, which is our area, divided by 1/2, which is the side that we have. Okay, this is equal to 1/18 times 2/1, because when we divide, remember we flip the fraction and we multiply instead of dividing. Okay, and 1 times 2 is 2. 18 times 1 is 18. And if you simplify that, you will get 1/9. Therefore, our width is 1/9 centimeters. Remember, when we divide by fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal or flip that second fraction. See, divided by 1/2 turns into times 2/1. We flipped it. And then we just multiply across. Any questions about that part of it? And so 1/9 centimeters is our width. Okay, let me see your chat. Okay. Let's try the next one. Let's try them together. Okay, let me put my camera. So we have an area of 8/9 inches squared. Okay, let me just draw it and then I will show you. 8/9 inches squared, and we have a width of 4 inches. I don't know the length. Okay, so we're trying to figure out length. We know the width, which is 4 inches. And we know the area, which is 8/9 inches squared. Okay. Let me show you. Okay, so get me on this in the camera. Okay. We have, there's too much light. Okay. Okay. All right, so we have the area, and that's going to be our divisor, which is 8/9. See how we ignore the inches squared? We don't do anything with that. That's just how we show the unit that we are working with. And we're going to divide it by what? Put it on the chat, or you can just tell me. What are we going to divide 8/9 by?
4 inches.
Correct, 4 inches. 4 inches. Okay. We need to set this up because this is a division problem, right? This is about to change. Because when we divide fractions by whole numbers, right? This part changes. Remember, when we see a whole number, there's an invisible one under it, but we have to multiply by the reciprocal. So it's still not set up correctly. So 8/9 times 1/4. Okay. The reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. Because there's an invisible one, it's as if this were the original fraction and we flip it to divide. Okay. Now 8 times 1, I'm going to put the answer here. 8 times 1 is 8. And 9 times 4 is 36. Can we simplify?
Yes.
All right. What can we simplify to?
I think 4.
No, not yet. No. Hold on, give me a second. Let me show you. Right here.
By 2.
Yeah, so, okay, so we can simplify it by dividing by 4, right? 8 divided by 4 is 2, 36 divided by 4 is 9. Is that what you guys meant?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So our answer would be 9 inches. Okay, did everybody get that? So if you run into these problems with fractions, it's really just what you know about dividing and multiplying fractions. So we have to have that very clear to get the correct answer. Other than that, it's easy, right? This side times this side equals this side. And to get either side, we just divide the area by whatever information we do have. Any questions about that or dividing and multiplying fractions? Does everyone understand why we didn't just multiply by 4 over 1? Can someone please explain that?
That's a mixed number, and you can't really divide by a fraction by a mixed number.
So the reason why we didn't just multiply by 4 over 1, it's because every time we see a whole number and are working with fractions, there is an automatic 1 as a denominator. So if we say 8/9 divided by 4, it's the same thing as saying 8/9 divided by 4 over 1. It's not a difference. It's as if this is just completely equal. But we have to divide or multiply by the reciprocal of this, which is the same thing as the reciprocal of this. And the reciprocal of that is 1/4. So every time you see a whole number and you have to divide, you have to multiply by the reciprocal, which is the flipped version of this way to write the whole number. Okay. Is that clear? Can I move on?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Please tell me how you feel about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 1 is I don't understand at all. To 5, I get it and I explain it to someone else. Put it on the chat and tell me if you still don't understand, tell me exactly what it is that you don't understand. I should see 9 entries in the chat box.
For the documentary thing, could you do yourself?
Wait, which documentary? The biography?
The assignment that's due on the 6th.
The biography, the introduction?
Yes.
Not yet. We are going to work on autobiographies, but after we're done with biographies. There's a different process, so I want you to learn both. Okay? Okay. All right, so if you had a 4 or a 5, actually everybody try this one on your own. I will give you 5 minutes. Put your answer on the chat. And I should have 9 answers on the chat. All right, I need 2 more answers. Don't rush, but know that I am waiting for your answer. Okay. Okay. All right, let's do this one together. The only thing I see is just mistakes in calculation, but I think everybody is doing what they should do. So we have an area of 1/4, right? And to figure out the missing side, we divide by whatever we have, which is 1/2. Okay, let me show you, right? So 1/4 divided by 1/2, it's the same thing as 1/4 times 2/1. Remember, we multiply by the reciprocal. And 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 1 is 4. If we simplify this, we get 1/2. That is our answer. Okay, so I just saw some mistakes in calculations. Okay, after doing this one on your own, do you think you can do the rest on your own? Please answer on the chat. Okay. You can, just letting you know, you can write on this. Here you can write your factors if you need to. You can write the whole procedure and your work can be here. So just letting you know that I'm going to post this right now.
So are you just posting the Google Slides and that's the only other work we have to do after that?
That is all the work you have today.
Okay.
Tomorrow you will have a whole page. Okay, so let me put math assignment area. It'll be due today because it's very short. All right, if you are good, or if you're good, you can go. If you have more questions, stay.
Bye.
Bye. Amari, you can stay, please. Today is May 4th. Let me see which slides. 1, 20, 23. Okay. Amari, I just wanted to let you know that that I turned back some work. Okay, so just check that, view your work, okay, and make sure you get it done. Bye. Isabella, you have any questions for me?
Do you have any questions? No, ma'am.
All righty. Bye.